right, good morning. Welcome to day 4 of rebuilding my metrics with momentum trading. So probably notice if you go back and look at the live recording archives that I privated day 3. Unfortunately, I realized that I had showed some sensitive information that I probably shouldn't have, so I ended up privating the video. But day 3, just as a recap, ended up being a total flop, a total fumble on my part. My peak profit for the day was above $50. It was like $55. And then I had 3 losses in a row after that. That brought it all the way back down to 0. The very last one being a FOMO into a trade after I accidentally made my share size too big in trade 0, so it rejected my order at a lower price, and then I hotkeyed in at a higher price just as it rejected down. So yesterday was pretty sad, but it's water under the bridge. It ended up only being a almost a scratch day, down just a few bucks, which isn't really a big deal. So we're still back to where we left off on Tuesday, which is recovering from max loss, recovering from that drawdown. So I'm hoping to at least make cold market daily gold today to make the week break even. If there isn't anything, then that's all right too. So starting off with what we have here, we got TMDE at 195, up 83% on the day as our leading gainer. The chart doesn't really look great. It popped up and then sold off. And we don't have news. It is a fossil fuel company. So kind of goes in line with that theme of oil and energy we've been having recently. There's a 3.5 million share float. Unfortunately, it doesn't really conform to my strategy at the moment. So I think I'm going to leave this alone for now. It does have a significant amount of volume in that 1 minute candle, 1.7 million shares. But its range is very small. Despite that, it's very thickly traded. It has 35 million shares of volume today. And it went from, in that one candle, it went from 190 to 205 with 1.7 million shares. Like a 15-cent range. You'd have to take a much bigger share size on this kind of position for it to be worth it. Sky Q popping up here on 7 a.m. news. It's only up 7%, another fossil fuel company. Right now, it doesn't have enough volume or percentage gain on the day for me to be interested. I'll have to pop up a bit more and a bit more volume. We also have the 200 moving average on the daily at 4. So we only got maybe about $1 a share room to move right now. So we broke 3 there for a moment, but then came back down. We do have some volume coming into this. But it's not really pulling away either. 23% now. It's got some sellers pushing it back down. Have 5,000 share seller there. So I'm pretty much just waiting for a proper pullback on this with an entry candle. I'm not going to jump into this one unless it starts pulling away significantly. We have sellers pushing it back down. So it closes a doji on the 1 minute. I'll set up an order for above 325. Just in case one of these ends up closing as an entry candle. We have 20 seconds left on the 2 minute and the 1 minute right now. And 5 minute just recently closed. That's a big sell-off, rejecting from 315 all the way down to 270. Now we're only up 7% on the day. Unless it comes all the way back up and breaks through 3 within one candle, and I won't be interested. So now the chart is ruined because of this huge red candle, huge wedge with even high volume selling. So the only way this would work now is if we come back up with even higher volume buying. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to trust. BATL coming back up to retest. BATL has 7 million share float. It's our fourth leading gainer. About to form a entry candle in the 2-minute. The float is a bit higher. BATL, I think, was one of those stocks that popped up and then just sold off. So this might be. We have 6 a.m. news, but I don't know. BATL. Just got increasing volume. High of day was 650. 647. Sky Q coming up again. I'm actually surprised that this is still moving. So technically this is a retest right now of VWAP. It's testing the 9 EMA on the 10-second and holding, which means that it's also holding VWAP. Seconds left to candle close with a high of 309. The 5-minute candle, I mean. Breaks high of day for a second there with a topping tail. Does have 5 volume buying. Take a starter. Top of 330. Looking for the squeeze through 350. This should be the first pullback. So I'm just holding and watching. I have a dip down here at 333. Break through 350. We hold 350. We do, so we're continuing higher. At 360, I'm going to take some profit off. This should be the second pullback. The high was 362. If we come back up and retest 362 but fail to break, then I might take the rest off for the double top. So it seemed like we failed there for a second, so take the rest off through 58. Pushes a little higher to 370. Much further can we go though? We're 5 green candles in a row. I expect that we should wait for a proper pullback now. Especially because we have on the 10-second now, we have 1 pullback after the breakout, 2 pullbacks, 3 pullbacks. So I don't expect it to go up much more. We're almost up 50%. So that 4th pullback at 366 for the squeeze up to 380 would have worked with this entry candle. In hindsight, what I could have done was I could have held a quarter of my position and just waited for an exit indicator like first candle to make a new low, or for an actual double top on the 1 minute. Like here, 379, now 383 is kind of a double top. Not really, but still pushing higher. I could have gotten more out of that squeeze actually if I had waited to buy the dip at 334 with my full position, and if I had held a quarter of my position for the first sign of a double top up to 380. I could have got maybe another 20 cents out of the move, 15 maybe. I'm conservative. And then I could have been trading with full size off of the get-go with 25 realized. I'm still underneath my $25 daily goal, cold market daily goal, so I still have to trade with half size for my next trade, according to my rules. It's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes little decisions can affect the big picture. But I expect this to pull back now. Like how much higher can this go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green candles in a row in the 1 minute. And we're forming a hammer there. But I keep saying it shouldn't go any higher. It just goes higher. Sometimes the market just isn't logical. But we're about to hit the 200 moving average now. So this isn't the place to get in. We break through the 200 for a moment there. No, and now we're actually breaking through. Okay. Now it's starting to speed up a little bit. 416 was the 200. That's really impressive, breaking through the 200 with 1.6 million shares of volume after being so extended like that. So, see if we hold 4. This is our first proper pullback. High was 439. Now we have a double top up there at 439. In a hotter market, I might have been more willing to hold a quarter of my position all the way up to 4. And maybe this is the beginning of a hotter market, considering we had a decent move yesterday. Although the moves weren't that great, it went up. I think it was 150%. But it's something to keep in mind that we have been getting some decent moves. We're coming into a holiday, market holiday tomorrow. We won't have Friday as per usual. So not sure how that affects things, but when we come back on Monday, we'll see how the rest of the day unfolds. And then when we come back on Monday, we'll see how scanners are looking and how people are reacting to things. Back up to this double top at 439. We hold 450. We're holding, so I'm going to take a position. Stop of 450. Looking for the squeeze up. So we're dropping back down, so getting out. We went up to 470. Could have taken some profit, but I was pretty confident that we would not break back down through 450 there. So I could afford to hold. That's pretty high volume selling on the 1 minute. Now we have that rejection of 470. On the daily, we have this level at 5 here, 504. And then we have room up to maybe 669. The other problem is that we haven't had a proper pullback on the 5-minute chart now. We're overextended on the 5 with the 9 all the way down at 370. We're about to reach this daily level at 505. I think this needs a proper 5-minute pullback to break through that daily level. If it doesn't, it breaks through, I'll be very surprised. I mean, it surprised me once before breaking through that 200 EMA, but we're almost up 100% on this. Holy smokes, and it breaks through. Look at that. All the way up to 550, but then it comes back down. What next? Ten seconds left on this camera that's turning into a hammer. Taking a position. The squeeze up to 6. Buying the dip at 550. Grinding a little bit. High was 588. Pops up there. Take a little bit of profit at 584. Breaks through 6. I'm just going to hold. See a seller there. Take a little bit more profit. That 30,000 share seller. See what it does. So we're breaking down. So I'm going to take the rest of my profit. This thing is really strong. So next level on the daily is up at 669. And then after that, we have room up to 896. And then $10 and then $15. Don't know if we'll get there, but at this point, we need a proper 5-minute pullback. These stocks have been very thickly traded, though. They're not really like pulling away and going parabolic. They're just kind of grinding higher. I do wonder if it has anything to do with these short selling algorithms and the way that they're buying, or the way that they're covering. And we do have this daily level at 528. I guess we already broke through that. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm saying that. For a second, I thought that was 628. BATL is popping up a little bit. I'm just not really interested in BATL. It's got a 7 million share float, so it's out, and a lot of the volume's being stolen by SkyQ. So MACD's crossing over now on the 1 minute on SkyQ. So we're going to have to wait for a proper pullback and a curl back up to high of day, which was 641. The mistake I made yesterday was getting into some of these curls a bit too early and then not maintaining that breakout or bailout mentality when shorts and longs were fighting for control at certain pivots. So if I do get in, then I have to maintain that breakout or bailout type of mentality, maintaining a tight stop, and also being careful of not getting in the curl too early. Otherwise, I'll end up giving back this $40 today like I did the 50 yesterday. As we continue, if I seemingly can't find the right time to enter the curls and continue losing after trading the front side of the move, then I might have to consider changing my strategy and waiting for breakouts, basically. So we're forming a hammer on the 2-minute high of 568. We're still negative on the MACD. Hammer on the, or a kind of a dragonfly with a little bit of a topping tail on the 2-minute. Hammer on the 1-minute. 4 minutes left on 5-minute close. But this thing has been a bit difficult to trade and find safe entries, it seems. Even Ross is just checking in with him. He is red on this stock. It's made some unexpected moves, places where you wouldn't normally see them. Whoops, I pressed my space bar. I didn't enter position, did I? Oh, okay, I'm good. And it's kind of rejected where you wouldn't expect either. Yeah, BATL popped up from 525 up to almost 545, and then projected and came back down. Now we have TMDE coming back up from VWAP, curling up a little bit. But I don't really trust these energy stocks right now. TMDE is a bit cheaper with no fresh news. I think I should just leave it alone. Wait for fresh news on something else. What was the headline on KIDZ the other day? It was $10K. No, I don't think that was it. My dog is snoring. So we do have to keep an eye out for this these type of energy headlines, I suppose. Considering how SkyQ just moved on an energy headline, it could become a theme, the Iran war. The military stuff hasn't been doing so well. But we'll see. We got our first couple of green candles, facing out at around 5 at that previous daily level. 519, 525. But are we going to stair step down? We're waiting for 8 a.m. right now. Got 7 minutes to go. And we shall see what happens. That looks like it's stair stepping down now. False breakout. 1 minute. Goes back down. Bounces off. Comes back down. Bounces off. Comes back down. The real test will be if we can hold 5 here. Ooh. So I'm going to put this on a side chart. Let's take a look at some other stocks. TMDE, kind of bouncing around VWAP right now. But the daily chart doesn't look good after it just sold off, but this is another fossil fuel stock. BRN is popping up. Another fossil fuel stock. Above the 200. With room all the way up to 228 actually in this window. But it's a little bit cheaper. Now we got that rejection off of 155. 1 million shares of selling volume. 0.2 million. Holy, look at that rejection. Yeah, we're not touching this one. BATL coming up again for another try. Previous pivot was about 550. Got a little bit of an ABCD pattern here on the 2-minute with MACD crossing to the positive. And we have a dragonfly on the 5. This might actually have been a good area to get in right here on this bottoming tail on these entry candles, this bull flag on the 1 minute. Problem is that I expect it to reject off of 550 again. But the daily on BATL also doesn't look good. It's a big sell-off. Checked off of 545. Comes back up. Lo and behold, does it again. Said, watch me, I'ma do it again. High volume rejection at 550, 544. Comes back up, 548, does it again. What else do we have? Turb sold off. High float, high float, high float. You're at ATM now. So let's see if any news comes. Any good news? Keep an eye on our scanners here. IQ bouncing off of 5 a little bit. If we don't see any news, we might see focus come back into this stock for a curl back up. Let's watch. ALF has news. It's on the cheaper side, popped all the way up to 276, came back down. $200 is at 323. Oh, 316. Very light on volume right now. High was 276. %. Okay, we have some volume coming in now. Let's see what it does. High volume selling. The news on TKLF was it received an investment from a private investor. Just decent news. Depends on who the private investor is, I suppose, and the amount. I didn't see how much, but 2.5 million. Strengthen operations in Hong Kong. So the problem with this stock is that it's right below the 200 as well at 320. Even if it breaks to 276, 280, we got 40 cents to move, or we're hitting the next level of resistance. We also have high volume selling on the 2 minute, high volume selling on the 1 minute now. Sky Q might be curling up. Put TKLF on a side chart. Let's take a look at what's happening here. So MACD is about to cross over. Now we're kind of stair stepping up here. This is the beginning of a curl pattern. Let's pivot at 550. Let's set up an order. I can take max share size now. My 3% risk share size is 150. Since I'm up more than 25 bucks on the day, I just have to be careful to get in at an appropriate time here to break through 550. Break through 550, and I might expect a retest of at least $6 or high a day, 641. I'm waiting for an entry candle though. Might be forming a doji on the 2 minute there. MACD crossing over. I have to maintain breakout or bailout if I get in. There we are, popping up a little bit. 29,000 share seller at 550. And we reject. TKLF did not hold up on that headline. Dropped all the way back down to 215 and then trying to come back up, but it's failing. That's typical cold market price action. So we're still not quite heating up yet. Coming back up to 550. This guy Q. Second attempt for the breakthrough 550. 30,000 share seller. However, we're not rejecting yet. This kind of looks like a head and shoulders pattern here. So we break through 550, so I'm going to take a position, look for the squeeze up to 6. I'm going to set a couple of profit target orders. Stop is 550. So we're rejecting. So I'm going to get out. 6-cent loss. Not a big deal. Get out early, that breakout or bailout. Or 7 cents. Very surprising that it actually rejected there. We got a crossover of MACD. We had a hammer on the 1 minute. We broke through that pivot all the way up to 568. Thought for sure that would be a curl up to 6. I don't know why we rejected there. We just closed on the 5 minute. Coming back to 568. We're holding it, 570. And we're not quite. Okay, I am going to take a position. Stop is 560, looking for the squeeze up to 6. Had a couple profit targets. I do have a little bit more confidence in this one because of the 5-minute close. It's a nice looking green hammer. We rejected a little bit off of 585. I think it should come back up. Might start to see some capitulation from short sellers. Let's see, do we reject off of 580 again? I have to take the loss. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh man. Normally a pattern like this, where we curl into the positives with MACD, we have two hammers in a row on 2 minute. We have a hammer on the entry at just before 580. Well, like a green bodied candle, not a hammer. We have a hammer on the 5 minute. This should very clearly squeeze back up with enough volume. These short sellers just keep pushing it, pushing it. We're in a window. Was a nice green day so far. You hopped in right as I lost it. Well, we're still $4 in the green, but I did the exact same thing yesterday. I was up $50, and then I just fumbled it. It's frustrating. These grindy stocks like this. Yeah, for sure. Even Ross on his stream is red on it. Really, really tough to trade. The front side of the move was when it was cleanest, but it was still making unexpected breakthroughs, like through the 200 when it was super extended. Now it's just chopping sideways. Unless we come back up to high of day, like above 6, then I might just leave this alone now. Yeah, for sure. On the 1 minute, where it broke through the 200 EMA, we were almost 10 candles in a row. And it finally did a pullback very briefly. And then it kept breaking through these daily levels. Just grinding slowly. It's kind of the same way yesterday. So I have to find my Zen spot now. Because my peak profit today was above $40. And I just gave it all back in the last couple of trades. So I'm hoping for something with good news to come up again. But I'm back to trading with half share size now, according to my rules. Got to go back down to 75 shares, which is what I simulate for my share size, as if I have like $1,000 account size with 3% max risk. I forgot to put this back up too. That back up. Three minutes to 8:30. I do wonder about trying Ross's updated simulator as well. Looks pretty good. Let's see. Turb, still below VWAP. MDE. I'm chopping around still. I don't think there's anything else interesting right now. Have to wait. Yeah, definitely. So before I started streaming, I only have 4 days of streaming, but before that, I've been trading since July, and I have a folder where I have a VOD of every single one of my trades since September. I've been recording all of my trades. I've only started recently streaming my trades. But I've used those recordings to go back and uh, develop my strategy, look at what I've been doing right, what I've been doing wrong. INBS popping up here, but it's only 63,000 shares of volume. Don't see news on it yet. Spike of volume there, up 33%. I don't know what the news on it is, though. We have room to the 200. But now it's rejecting. FDA clinical program. Like this is something that you would expect to have a decent move. This is still typical cold market behavior going on here. Pops up all the way up to 440 and then comes back down to 330. Like, but yeah, I do have VODs every day that I come back to, and if I'm not sure about something, like if something in my strategy isn't working, I either review my past metrics, so like on TraderView, or I go back to the VODs and I simulate things in my mind. So looking at level 2, looking at the charts, imagining as if I were sitting there that day trading, I would use those VODs to kind of simulate everything. CUCP coming up, but it's a bit cheaper. QNTM. It's a $700 million claim. QCP moving up, but can't really justify getting into it with the higher float, cheaper price. Like I might have considered if it was a lower float getting in on this hammer right here for the retest of VWAP. So it would have worked 123 up to 145 with $1,000 account size, trading half share size at 3% risk and maybe like a 5-cent stop. Could have taken like 250 shares. Would have been decent. Just higher float, lower price. It was like 1 million shares, 2 million shares. Might have considered getting into it. Ross doesn't like these cheaper stocks, but for my VWAP strategy specifically, this would have been a good setup for the retest of VWAP. That would have been a really good trade. It's too bad. Can't get in though. Not up here. Definitely not with a higher float still. Even if I do get another opportunity, it's outside my strategy, fortunately. It's odd that it's the penny stock that pops up and holds up, and the other stocks are just kind of failing now. QNTM popped up and failed. INBS popped up and failed. SkyQ is just continuing to chop sideways, and if it doesn't curl back up at all, then I probably won't be able to trade this until the open. So recently, actually, the opening bell has given us some good opportunities for stocks like this, where if you identify a certain level of support, like for example, if it continues to hold the 20 EMA, which is also mostly the same as the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, I could identify that as a level for like a red to green move, or a nice gap and go if it breaks high of day. I mean, this is the type of stuff that makes you feel like a doofus, right? Like if I got in at 124 with 250 shares and held up to 170, maybe sold half at 150 and continued holding until an exit indicator, that's like maybe like 40 cents a share on 250 shares. That would make my day right there. But hindsight is always 2020, right? Next time I trade an 8 million share float on a $1 stock and I get in and then it just immediately rejects and I lose money, then I'm going to feel like an idiot then too. It's been holding the 9 EMA really well on the 10-second though. And we're in this big window here, all the way up to 267. And then a high volume rejection off of 180. We're still waiting for something that meets my criteria. Yeah. Almost 2 million shares of selling volume in that single candle. 1.8. Like it's coming back up for a retest of it. Of 180. If it breaks through 180 with even higher buying volume, then I see capitulation here from some short sellers, squeeze up to 2, potentially. I just can't justify getting in. Mm-hmm. We still have increasing volume on the 1 minute. 2 million shares, 2.3 million shares. Even though we had this high volume selling, there's even higher volume buying. But yeah, it's very, very thickly traded. So stacked on both sides. I like these setups best on the lower priced stocks early on down here. When you see the pattern forming, and then you can hold them for the grindy price action. So here you sell at the first exit indicator, so like MACD crossover, or first candle to make a new low, or a double top. So, you know, potentially could have held all the way up to 180, or I mean, even held through this pullback, expecting the breakthrough. I probably would have sold at this high volume selling. This was a lower float stock. Otherwise, if you get in up here, it's so grindy, hard to find a good entry. It's good that you found an entry down there at 164 and got some profit. So 830 came, nothing held up. 845 came, well, nothing except for COCP held up. 845 came, nothing. The last chance is going to be 9. We don't usually have news at 9:15 recently. And then it's going to be trading at the open. I might consider Sky Q at the open, considering it's still up 100%. If it continues holding the 9 EMA here, and has a good entry candle for me to get in on, then I might consider it. But I don't know. I've already lost more than half of my cold market daily goal. Or half of my peak profits, which is $40. I'm not feeling triggered anymore. I'm feeling okay, right? Like we're still green on the day. But yeah, that could be it. Today might just be a break-even day. We reset and we come back Monday, possibly. Hoping that the market heats up a little bit more. We have been seeing some big moves in the past couple of days. They've just been kind of grindy. And then most of the big movers have actually been during regular market hours. So SkyQ coming back up a little bit here. The problem is that it rejected off of $6 before, 588. So it's going to be difficult for me to trust getting back in this unless we come back up to high 5-day. Yeah, that's how I feel. I have some flexible rules and some hard rules. So max loss is a hard rule. Like I have a 5% daily max loss. Eventually I might bring that back down to 2.5%. I might do some reviews on the weekend, do some review streams where I go through my metrics. And if there's a certain number of days where I'm 5% max loss when it could have been like 2.5 and it could have saved me, then I'll bring that down. But 5% max loss, that's a hard stop. We stop there for the day. One of my soft rules is, yeah, for sure. That's probably what I'm going to do too. Unless it's market open, because sometimes market open has been giving us some really good initial squeezes, but we'll see when we get there. We still got another 30 minutes to go. But one of my soft rules is if I lose half back, so like whatever my peak profit on the day is, like $40. If I lose half back, I'm down to $20 from 40. Then I have to do a self-evaluation if I'm compromised or not. If I am, then I have to stop trading. But if I feel like I'm okay, like I might take a break for like 30 minutes, and if I feel like I'm okay, then I might continue very carefully with half size again. Just have to see what happens here. BDRX moving up. It's up 50% with a clinical trial headline. It's too cheap. I don't trade stocks below $1. Recent reverse split. It's the same type of headline as COCP though. COCP was a FDA headline, FDA fast track designation. Both biotech stocks. Trial. Same kind of theme-ish. Yeah, especially if you pay high commissions with your broker. It's kind of a one entry, one exit type of thing for me. I don't always trade them. I'm very selective about the pennies that I trade. Nothing below $1. Nothing close to $1. So if it's like $1.05 or like $1.10, I don't trade those. If it's like $1.25, $1.50, and it's got a really good setup forming that I recognize for a VWAP setup, for me to get in at a level of support where I can afford to hold it for a longer period of time, then I'd consider it. But I kind of just ignore these on breaking news or anything else. Sky Q starting its curl up here. This is actually pretty significant volume here. High is 641. Now we're rejecting off of 627. Do we hold 6? That 1 minute candle almost has as much selling as it did buying the previous one. It's pretty risky to get in up here. But we have 1 minute left on that 5 minute candle close. It is almost 9 a.m. here. 1 minute to 9 a.m. If anything with news drops, we have to keep that in mind. Breakthrough new high of day is 653. But we're topping tailing again. Five seconds left on this 5 minute close. I put an order up at 650, but I don't know. It's kind of risky. Yeah, every pop is coming with topping tails. So like where do short sellers capitulate? We have a daily level at 669. That's also another risk factor. We have a resistance level only 15, 20 cents away from here. But if we break 669, then we have room up to $9 on the daily, with the next candle being at 896. We have 2 points to move. Maybe it's just wait for it to start pulling away over 669, maybe by the first pullback. That's my thoughts as a maybe. I'm watching for news. Oh boy. Ross is having a bad time today too. He kind of held and hoped on that one. Yeah, it's so hard to trust now. Ross got in, it looks like, for that break of 650, and he ended up with like a $50,000 loss on it almost, because he held for that drop. Market's been tough for everyone. Yeah. That's a yikes. I wonder when these short selling algorithms are going to get turned off. We see that Memex seller popping up everywhere on the ask on most of these stocks for like the past month and a half, making it really tough to trade to the long side. Yeah, I agree. I've had quite a few opportunities where I just end up selling too early. Like I'm holding for a decent amount of time, but I'm selling earlier than I normally would in a hot market because I still feel like we're in a cold market and it's going to fail. Then you have something like Sky Q that moves up 10 green candles in a row, and now we've been chopping sideways for the past 2 hours, almost hour and a half. What's the deal with that? Mm-hmm. Might be a week to just walk away. Like it's just not happening this week. For me, I'm sure there's some people who traded this and made some money on it. In hindsight, I wish I had just stopped at 40. And yesterday, I wish I had stopped at 50. I made money on the front side, and then I lost money on the curls. I think there's something about these fossil fuels stocks. I don't know what it is about them. They trade very weird. I don't know if that's just me, but like every time I see BATL pop up or these other fossil fuel stocks, I'm just hesitant to get in them because they trade very weird. TMDE, like all these stocks today, I kind of just ignored. Like we're rejecting off of 550 and BATL. TMDE is a little bit cheaper. Rejected off of 180 twice. High volume selling up at its first breakout at 2. Yeah, it must be. May be the case. So 9 a.m. came and went. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah. It's gonna be hard to predict what's gonna happen with oil in the next even in the next week. Like USO is just continuing to go higher and higher. But it's been fluctuating. Pop up, we pull back, we pop up, pull back. This chart this chart it doesn't, you can't see any patterns on it in the daily. Like what is this? It's just clouds in the sky. S&P 500 has been gapping up, gapping down, gapping up, gapping down. Hmm. Just over 3 minutes to 9:15, our last chance for news. I'm gonna guess that there's probably not gonna be anything. But there's always hope. I think so too. I don't know if they're going to for sure change the PDT rule in April. I'm not really well informed on that, especially with the geopolitical distress going on right now. I don't know if they're going to make a formal decision on that anytime soon. But yeah, if that does change, then we could see a lot more volume coming in the market, which would be nice. Really tough to predict, like you said. When I looked at my past metrics, I noticed that my accuracy was like 75% or something with a not a great profit to loss ratio. That's what I'm working on right now. A breakout or bailout mentality. But my accuracy was like 75%. In a cold market, it just goes way down, goes down to like 60% or lower if I'm not careful. I wish it could be hot tomorrow, but this is still good practice dealing with this kind of market. If we can deal with this kind of market, we can deal with any kind of market. It has been brutal for sure. We're gonna see if that holds true for me. I am gonna do on the weekends. I haven't decided whether it's Saturday or Sunday yet, but I'll probably do maybe Sundays. I'm gonna go through Trader View on stream and go through my thought process of correcting my behaviors, what I did well, what I didn't do well, and we'll see if my metrics hold true. So far this week, I don't think it's held true at all. I think I had terrible accuracy my on Tuesday when I had that max loss day. On Monday, I think it was a 66% accuracy. I had 2 wins, 1 loss, and I ended with a green day because I stayed patient and I got a good trade at the market open. Yesterday was a fumble. I had, I think, 3 winners in a row, up to $50. 3 or 4 winners. I think it was 4 winners actually in a row, up to $50. And then I fumbled 3 trades in a row, back down to break even, slightly red. One of the trades was because of I was trading with real money, because it was just kind of an entire fumble, because yesterday I was trading with trade zero because the simulator wasn't working yesterday. And I didn't have all my keybinds set up properly. And so I had to quickly do some of them to get the stream going. And then I realized, after rejecting one of my orders for the first time, which saved me, the second order that I filled in the limit order too high. So it rejected, and then I FOMO'd into the trade, and then I lost money. I feel like yesterday I actually could have ended the day with like $100 of profit. But you live, you learn. But I did still have that problem of getting in on the curls and losing money. It might be best in this type of market to just kind of ignore the curling setup until they break high of day. Not entirely sure yet. Be something to review. That's probably a good mentality to have. Back to the sim during a cold market, when it's hot and you're profitable, you trade with real money, as long as you continue to be profitable. And then when you're confident enough to continue to make money in the cold market, then you stay on full time. That makes sense. Might even work for me here. What I'm hoping, though, is that I can maintain profitability in a cold market, and then I can just go full time with real money trading, so that I can have some continuation on stream. $10 to 9:30. Maybe it's time to start looking at if there's anything interesting for an opening trade. Despite this rejection, we do still have potential support at 5 for VWAP, and it has been somewhat holding the 9 EMA on the 5. We'll see if that continues up to market open or not. But I might not touch this unless it's a very, very obvious setup. Our other leading gainer is COCP. Yeah, I think that's what's happening right now is I am overtrading a little bit. But what I hope to do is when I do my metric review, I can go through and eliminate what's not working. So have a bit higher of a breadth of trades to start with setups that I think work and eliminate what I'm not doing well with. That's what I hope to happen. It's going to take a bit of a sample size to do that. So if I look back in a month and I'm like, well, during a cold market, these curling setups aren't working, I'm just going to get rid of them. And then in the future, if I make $50, $40 on the front side of the move like I have been, then I can continue to do so. Yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to know that for sure. Yeah, I get what you mean. So what works best for me, from what I've found, take this with a grain of salt. Because of course, I mean, I made money on the front side, but I usually do well on the front side. But there's a concept called Elliott wave theory, which says that the market moves in waves. So I kind of imagine it in number of pullbacks. So, like for example, on the 1 minute here, although it was really extended at a certain point, and you could kind of call these all pullbacks. Market, I imagine, moves up in waves of three. So you have the first wave, first pullback, second wave, second pullback, third wave, third pullback. And after the third pullback, you can kind of expect it to fizzle out a little bit. If it doesn't, sometimes there is a fourth pullback, and then it kind of starts fizzling out. And that can happen on any time frame. So like on the 10-second, during an initial breakout, I might trade the first and second pullbacks, but then from there on, I kind of see what it does. That's kind of what's been helping me to be cautious around the third and the fourth pullback. And I try to get in on the earlier pullbacks so there's less risk of that happening. I think the whole idea of like Elliott wave theory is that market sentiment generally shifts from positive to negative, back to positive, back to negative, back to positive, and after a certain amount of time, then it kind of flips. I use 2 minute chart because it helps me find entries. Usually when I'm in the middle of trading, it's just the 1 minute and the 10 second like Ross does in the level 2. But I find that the 2 minute chart can help me to find good entries. There are a lot of people who use the 2 minute chart as well. So if you have multi-time frame alignment between the 1, the 2, and the 5, I can find that it helps my confidence of getting into a trade. And by entries, I mean what I consider to be entries, or what I call entry candles. So, um, this is just something that I made up myself, but it is part of the candlestick patterns that Ross uses, right? Between a hammer, a dragonfly, and a doji candle. Those are generally candles that signal the start of a reversal, or signal the start of a change in trend. Because you have, like, for example, a good example here. I mean, I guess I could use this just as an example for now, but like on the 1 minute right here, you don't really see this. You don't really see this as a hammer candle or kind of like a dragonfly. It's not really either of them. It's a little bit of a hammer, but it's not really. But on the 1 minute, you don't see it. On the 2 minute, you see it. Like it goes down and then it comes back up. This is technically a change in trend if we break the high of the green candle. So first candle to make a new high. It forms a hammer on the 2 minute, and I watch the time very carefully for a 2 minute and a 5 minute close for the changes in trend and getting an entry. That's my approach to it. I didn't explain that very well, but it'd be easier if I had an example on hand. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Like right now, we're coming up to market open with Sky Q. We're forming a hammer on the 1 minute, forming like a doji on the 2 minute, and forming a topping tail on the 5 minute. It's not quite multi-time frame alignment, but if we break 570 here, then we might see a squeeze up at market open. I've kind of decided that I'm just going to leave it alone because I don't trust it. I'm just explaining my thought process about like how I would kind of see these. Yeah, I mean, it's just too hard to trust. Pops up, rejects. Oh man, glad I didn't get in. I do have some of my Excel sheets, which kind of show it. Let's see. Yeah, for sure. That's probably. Although we're bouncing off of 5 right here, so this might actually be a red to green move. So that support level I marked earlier, bouncing off of VWAP. 505 was also a daily level here. So if it breaks 550, might see the retest of 590. I think I'm going to leave it alone because it's just too risky, like you said. But observation notes, archives. I have a strategy sheet here. 2-minute. So I have a bunch of examples that I listed out in a sheet. January 13th. So like here's an example where a 2-minute would give me confidence. So on the 1-minute on AMA in this day, right here, the 2-minute kind of signaled that change in trend where it formed a hammer candle. So this would be like a test of VWAP setup we've been testing for a while. And we have this flat top. This hammer kind of signals the strong buying power that's kind of fueling it back up for the retest. So it's more obvious on the 2-minute than it is on the 1-minute. The 1-minute is strong as well because it's just a regular green bodied candle. But the 2-minute shows that it actually tested and then came back up. Another example, ASI on the 14th. Oh, why my 5-minute is acting like that. Here we go. Where was my entries on this? Doesn't say. But like here, for example, we have multi-time frame alignment between the 2-minute, the 1-minute, where we got a kind of a hammer slash dragonfly on the 1-minute. We got a hammer on the 2-minute. These can all act as entries, but it signals kind of a change in trend here. The price isn't right because of the reverse splits, but I use it for multi-time frame alignment purposes, for potential entries, and for signals and change in trend. ROLR on the 14th. This is one of the ones that made a big move. Not so much this one. Entry is more on the 1 minute. But we have this candle back here as well. From the high of 931 up to 1044. Even though it's not obvious on the 1 minute that there's this change in trend, right? Got this kind of bear trap set up where we fall below VWAP, break back up. If I see that this 2 minute is forming into a hammer, then I might have more confidence to get in for this bear trap, knowing that that's going to close as a hammer. And some people are going to be interested in getting in. Because there are some people who use the 2 minute. Yeah, it looks cleaner in general. I noticed that a lot more buying volume can come in off of a 5 minute close or a 2 minute close, or even better if all three charts close at the same time, because then you have multi-time frame alignment and you have people buying in on multiple charts. Some people use the 1 minute, some people use the 2 minutes, some people use the 5, some people use the 15. Ross doesn't really need to use the 2 because he's so quick about being a scalper. He gets in on breakouts and dips and all that. But for my setups, my VWAP setups, I tend to like to use the 2 minute for getting in around support. HPH on the 20th. These are more 1 minute setups. Maybe it's later on. Yeah, like right here. So right here, for example, is a 5 minute, a 2 minute, and a 1 minute close. All three of these time frames close at the same time. 2 out of 3 of them formed hammers. We had MACD crossover. We have 5 minute being a green bodied candle. This is a perfect example of like multi-time frame alignment that signaled a big reversal and a breakthrough VWAP that went all the way up to 450. Those are the type of things that kind of signal confidence for me to get in on a setup. This would be my retest VWAP setup. So we come up, break VWAP, retest it, forming higher type of deal. Yeah, I have plenty more examples. And these are all, you asked me earlier if like VODs are helpful. These are the strategies that I developed going through my VODs. Like everything I noticed here is me going through my VODs, other than the fact that I take a lot of what I know from Ross. Like his strategy is first and foremost. I learned everything from him. And now I'm trying to find my own edge based on the information that he gave me. Yeah. He's like on another level when it comes to that flow state. And like getting in and out and seeing support and resistance. Let me reset all my charts here. I hope that someday I can also be like Ross in breaking new setups and trade quickly like that too. I do trade breaking news as well, but I mostly just get in on dips and first, second pullback. We'll see how well that works out. If I need to do what he does and get more in on first candle to make a new high rather than dips, because dips can be risky, but still a work in process here. I think at this point, SkyQ, I'm not interested in at all. Second leading gainers, BDRX. Been moving up, but it's cheaper. I've kind of resolved myself not to take any more trades for the day. So I think that's going to be it for me. This is going to end up being a red week, slightly red week, between $25 on Monday, positive, minus $50 Tuesday, negative, yesterday being a fumble, today being a fumble. So we're only down 25 bucks on the week. Could have been up if I just had not traded the curls. I hadn't fumbled the open yesterday. But today and this week have been pretty rough to trade. I think I'm gonna end it here. Come back on Monday, do my metric stream probably 7 a.m. Sunday, and then come back on Monday with a plan, since Friday's the holiday. Yeah, thanks for stopping by and chatting with me. You're actually my first viewer, so congratulations to you. You got that crown. But I'm going to keep plugging away at it. So I'll be here every weekday, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. up until 9 a.m. Or market open 9:30, depending on whether I have to work or not. Sometimes I have to get off a little bit early before market open because I do still have a job. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. We're both here to learn, and I'm still trading in the sim for a while, but see how long it takes me to get to real money. Recording for the journey, I suppose. I've been trading for 8 months, so I know the setups. It's just a matter of dealing with that emotional discipline and figuring it out and cutting away the stuff that's not working. But yeah, I wish you a good rest of the day, and until next time, have a good one. Yeah, sure. I'm happy for you to stop by. But yeah, I'll be back on Sunday, 7 a.m. doing my metric stream. Yeah, have a good one.